Hey guys, it is Carl Brown for GuitarLessons365.com. Today we're going to learn how to play all of the riffs in Square Hammer by Ghost. Now in the next lesson we're going to take a look at both of the guitar solos. So I'm going to split this up in a couple videos here so it doesn't get too long. So let's start here. First off, we are tuned down a whole step. So in order to do that, you're going to tune every string on your guitar down a whole step. So your low E string is going to be tuned down to a D. The A string is tuned down to a G. D string tuned down to a C, G string tuned down to an F, B string down to an A, and the high E string down to a D. Now, I'm going to write all those notes out in the description for you. So as soon as you get in the tune, then you can follow along with this lesson and the original recording pretty easily. All right, so it's got a fun little riff that enters, kind of intros the song. All right, so now this riff is actually played in a couple different places, depending on which guitarist is doing it, which ghoul is doing it. So it's the exact same notes, though. And typically one will play it there when they play it together. You'll see that in the transitions at the end of the riffs. So let's take a look here. We're going to start with this 2nd fret on the D, then 4-5 on the D, then 3 on the A string, back to 4-5 on the D, then the 2 on the A, then 4-5 on the D again. Now you can see I'm using these fingers so I can jump over with the 2nd finger now. So this. Then I just play 4-5 with the index and ring finger back to the 5th fret there on the A string. Repeat. So this. So after a couple of times of playing that, you'll start hearing the second guitarist come in with the low E string ringing. I'm just going to call it like it's a standard tune guitar. It's obviously a D string, and some feedback on there. And the riff is played over that a couple more times, and then that guitarist comes in with a full rhythm. So that's just the low E power chord. Then the 3rd fret power chord off the A string, down to the 2nd fret, and move it up to the 5th. So you should repeat that 3 times. Now, as that first guitarist continues doing this, the second guitarist, after he plays those chords 3 times, is going to go up and join him with that riff. But if you watch him play it live, he's doing it up here at the 7th fret. So that's the same riff, it's just starting on the 7th fret of the A string. So 7, 9, 10, over to 8 on the low E, back to the 9, 10. So if you have it in your hands here, it's the exact same thing. Just start here at the 7th fret of the A. All right, so or you can just jump back and play it there. It's really the same notes, but the strings sound different, so it kind of fills up the sound having that same riff played on different strings. All right, so now we get to the actual verse section. It sounds like this. All right, so that riff, it's just kind of starting on some power chords here on the A string. So 7th fret power chord, just 8th notes, kind of heavily palm muted, down to 3, 2, back to 5. So we have this. And then when the first time when you're coming back around to repeat the chords again, hit that first chord just There's a couple of accents there on that power chord. So this. Then just continue the riff the exact same. I'm sorry. 7, 3, 2, then 5. So we have 7, 3, 2, 5, and then we start the second time around with. Then we go back through the chorus the same way as the first time, and end it with that riff. All right, then we go back, through the verse again, and it just has this little, always has a kind of like that transition riff, dun, 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 at the end of it. All right, then we get to the chorus. It's a fun one. It looks like this. All right, so that kind of moves around quite a bit here. We're going to start with the low E power chord to the 3rd fret power chord off the A string. Let's play with this. Now we're going to do a slide from the 3rd fret of the low E up to the 8, to the 10th fret on the A, to the 7th on the G. Then we have the power chord there at the G string, 3rd fret, then the 5th. And then we have this little transition. That's 5, 7 on the low E and a 5 on the A. So we have this so far. Then kind of repeat the same thing, except you don't do that little slide. You just have the 3rd fret power chord over the 3rd fret of the low E, up to the 5th fret there of the A string, and then that little 3-note riff again. So it's 5, 7 on the low E to 5 on the A. So I'm just go through that real slow so you can just watch me play all that. So it's kind of one time through the chorus. So when you repeat the chorus, it starts the same way. Same exact thing. So there's a little different ending there. So that little thing there is based off the G power chord. And then you're going to go, you hit that G power chord a couple times, then you pick the 5th fret of the A string to the 6th fret, 6th string, 3rd fret. So this. Then reach up and grab the 7th fret of the D, back to 3 on the low E, then to the 5th fret of the D, to the 5th fret of the A. So we have this. And then that same little 3-note riff. Now, if you're just having another rhythm guitarist not doing it, you can just jump to the chord like normal. All right, so and then we're gonna go back. I believe we go back to that little. They always use that kind of riff as a little transition. It's going to take us back to verse number 2. Now, verse 2 has a little variation. It's at the 1 minute and 48 second mark. They actually don't do this live, so you can leave it. It's pretty low in the mix if you don't want to do it, but I'm going to teach it just kind of for completeness sake here. There's a little clean guitar part. It sounds like this. So kind of a way of just adding a little creepy vibe to the verse there. So we're going to start here with the 9th fret on the D. So just hold this shape, 9th fret on the D, 11th on the G, and 8th on the B. So we pick those, and then 8 on the B there, back to 11 on the G. So we have this. So just holding this chord shape the entire time here, I'm just going to call up the strings you're going to pick. 4, 3, 2, 3. So then the next 2 beats are going to be 4, 2, 1, 2. So this. All right, and then we have this. So that's going to be 3, 4, 2, 3, then 1, 2 twice. So let me pick through it just so you can get it. That's the actual part right there, and we're going to repeat it. So it looks like this. Repeat. And then we're going to just go to this little E minor. After you've done that riff twice, you're going to go 9 on the D, 9 on the G, 8 on the B, and back to 9 on the G. So I'm just there for completeness sake. It's kind of hard to memorize. I had to write it down myself. So it's kind of something that's just there for texture and stuff. But like I said, I haven't seen them do it live, so don't worry about it if you don't want to do it. All right, so what else do we have here? We have on the chorus 2, there's a little variation when we go around to repeat, and they do that in both the 2nd and 3rd chorus. So we just have to see if you can pick it up. So you can see that little ending I put there. It's just simply this. Instead of going, they do this. So that's just that 5, 7 again, 5 on the A, back to 7 on the low E, back to the 5, slide up to 7. And when you hit that, you might want to add the low E in there when you do the slide from 5 to 7. And then kind of repeat the chorus the exact same way. So nothing, that's just a little variation that you'll hear in there that I believe they do in the 2nd and 3rd chorus, but just in case you hear it and like, what's that? It's a little different. That's what's going on there. So just a little finer details there. All right, so now all we have to really cover are the stuff that goes on during the guitar solo and the ending of the song. So we have right here, the solo kind of has a different way they transition into the solos, and they use that same transition leaving the solo. So it looks like this. All right, so that's just the open A string. Then you're going to hit it with 4 8 notes. Then go 2, 3 on the A. Just use your index finger for both of them. Because then you're going to play 4, 5 on the D string. Over to 5 on the A. And it's just like the same as the main riff. So this. It's the same as the main riff, the second half of it there, right? And then we go into the guitar solo. Underneath the guitar solo is the rhythm guitar part, for the verse. It's a couple different guitar solos there, but they use that same progression every time. And then leaving the solo at the very end, the second solo. That takes you back into the chorus. Now, so that was the same thing that we went into the solos with. Now, at the very end of the song, they play the chords just kind of straight through and have a little different ending at the very, very end of the song. All right, so that is just going for the low E, and then the power chord off the 3rd fret of the A. then the 3rd fret off the low E, and then the 5th fret of the A. So very similar. Just kind of, it's like the chorus with no frills. But the very last time I'm playing it, they'll just play the same thing, but instead of going to the D here, they do that, which is the 2nd fret of the low E and the 5th fret there of the A string. And then we have at least one guitar player just plays single notes, which is the 5th fret there on the low E a couple times, then a couple times on the 3, then once on the 2. The other one may play just power chords of that. And then the music's gone. All right, so stay tuned for the next one. I'm going to take a look at both of the guitar solos. They're really fun to play, and you'll see it tomorrow.